Welcome to Spirit Narnia Chronicles. The show opens up with these kids promising to marry each other in the future. Then we cut to the future where the boy grew up and his name is Haruto. He's currently riding a bus along with his people. The bus goes out of control and hits a train and causes a huge accident.
Rock and roll McDonald's! Rock and roll McDonald's!
He wakes up as he gets isekai to this medieval world, and his name in this world is Ryo. And he also gains his memories back in Earth. Then these drug smugglers come into his house and tells him to get the fuck out and take a shower because he smells like
piss pig.
After cleaning himself, these royal people ask him if he's seen a pink-haired girl, and he replied no. Then low-budget Freyren used some magic to scan the area.
Scanning for Mexicans.
And Ryu starts seeing his Super Saiyan aura, and low-budget Freyren tells him that he's got potential to be a great magic user. She pays him for the information and he puts the money into his chest as he goes home. As he walks in, he gets stabbed by this Assassin's Creed dude. Luckily, it only grazed the coins. Then this stand appears and tells him that he can use some magic. She kissed him and he obtains some Ultra Instinct. He starts fighting the Assassin's Creed by using Kung Fu, Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo moves, and he breaks his arm and wins.
Fatality.
He opens this body bag and found the girl that the royal bitches were looking for, and she passed out after seeing some dead bodies. He carries her and the royal bitches spotted him, and they accused him for kidnapping the princess. We then see the scene of the crime, where they managed to catch the Assassin's Creed kidnapper, and this mysterious dude killing the kidnapper so that he won't leak some classified information. Kinda like how they killed Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself!
We cut back to Ryo where he gets interrogated by this pedophile here. The princess wakes up and she tells to summon Ryo because he saved her. The bitches goes to the dungeon and stop the pedophile. Then low-budget Freyren heals him and he blacks out, and not in the good way. He wakes up and thanks low-budget Freyren for healing him, and she says that the king needs to see him after saving his bitch-ass daughter. Ryo then asks her if she can teach him some royal manners so that he can face the king properly, and she says yes. We cut to the next morning and see him getting a knighthood after saving the princess. The next day comes where he attends school for the first time because he has a full scholarship granted by the king for saving his pathetic whore daughter.
Knowledge.
And low-budget Freyren will be one of his teachers. Some school stuff happens where he shows his 500 IQ and great swordsmanship skills, and this old guy tells him to be a part of the knights, but he refuses, and this rich kid assholes gets jealous of him for getting the highest score in the exams.
I don't mean to brag, but I have a very large brain.
5 years passed and we see him getting selected for a night reservation tournament. He talks to low-budget Freyren about his future, that he wants to go and explore the world because it's too difficult for him to live here because of domestic racism, and his goal is go to the place where he belongs, West Yagumo, Mountain Mama, Take Me Home, Country Road, because his mother promised to take him there someday. We cut to the day of the tournament where his opponent is the knight who punished him as a kid, and his name is Charles Leclerc. And he wants to get revenge on Ryo because he got demoted. Well, it's kinda your fault for committing child abuse. You're just lucky that your world doesn't have modern laws, or else you would get crucified for your actions. Anyway, the duel starts where the fight is evenly matched, and Ryo sees an opportunity to strike and he wins, cocking Charles Leclerc.
Box now, box for hard. Stay out.
After the fight, Charles Leclerc goes on a chat with his noble cunt, who is being voiced by Connor cdawgva.
Yeah, you wanna come?
And Charles Leclerc ran his big fat dirty mouth about Ryo being involved by saving the princess 5 years ago, and the noble cunt gets interested about his story. The next episode starts where low-budget Freyren flexes on these rich kid assholes on how to use a low-level magic.
Wow.
So that Ryo won't get bullied for not knowing how to control his magic. We then see the kids going to this outdoor test led by Tom Holland here as their commander, where they need to traverse this forest and come out with no casualties. And Jaden Smith here tells Ryo to carry the items and stay in the back because he can't use magic. They head into the forest and they were ambushed by some level 1 goblins, and they easily win. And we see cdawgva stalking the kids like a predator. This is a joke, I'm not hating on Connor, I love his videos and I'm a massive fan of him. That's why I started making these shitty anime videos, because I look up to the OGs like the Trash Taste Boys. Please notice me.
Notice me, senpai!
Anyway, he was shocked that Ryo instantly noticed his presence, and he wants to test his abilities. The kids march forward and were ambushed by some big daddy orcs from Kuroinu. Jaden Smith gets attacked and was crying for help.
I've fallen and I can't get up!
And he accidentally pushed Meghan Markle off the cliff. Ryo immediately saved her by using some wind magic, and he pushed her back up while he falls into his death. The kids manages to hold on and defeat the big daddy orcs. Jaden Smith gets flamed for being a noob weak ass cunt. but he blames Rio for being poor and it's his fault that he got attacked. And Rio sees all of this commotion. What the fuck? This is the most dumbest reason for having skill issues I've ever heard of. The princesses defended him by saying, "It wasn't his fault, he sacrificed himself to save me." Yeah, Jaden, it was your fault for being a noob and having skill issues.
Emotional damage!
Yeah, okay guys, what's done is done, so we need to get the fuck out of here now. You're just going to leave him down there? Fine, I'll save him alone, and I'll ride his dick after we come back. Then this level 25 goat man from hell spawns and tries to attack them. The kids try to defend themselves, but they got smacked right in the faces. Tom Holland orders them to retreat, and we see Meghan Markle healing this lard-ass spastic. The goat man spotted her, but Rio cut its arm to save her. He starts fighting the goat man, and by using some ultra instinct, he cuts its head off and wins. The kids gather to Meghan Markle and Rio lives secretly like Batman. Then we see cdawgva floating and was interested in Rio being able to kill a high-level monster. We cut back to school where low-budget Freyren overheard the head teacher talking about Rio went missing and they will blame the incident on him. Night comes and Rio shows up to say goodbye to Freyren, and he will write her a letter under his Earth name, Haruto, and he will go on a journey to go back to his hometown. He arrives in the new city and felt that there's someone stalking him, but he proceeds to ignore it.
You didn't see me, but here I am.
He buys some food for his journey and sends his daily mail to low-budget Freyren. As he moves on, he spotted this injured girl and he shoots some poison dart onto him, but he heals himself immediately, and they started fighting. He manages to knock her out and he sees her slave collar. He removes it so that she won't get controlled again. Then we see the flashback of the furry lolly, and she is the girl from the bus accident along with Haruto, and she was also reincarnated here to serve under Jaden Smith. The lolly wakes up and begs him to spare her life, and he asks her some questions on who sent her, and she tells him that a noble named Steven Tyler sent her to kill him. Ryu deduced that it's Jaden Smith who sent her so that the truth won't get out and not ruin their family reputation. He sets her free and tells her to never return to those racist nutsacks because they can't control her anymore. He tells her to head west and find the Rainforest Convention and reunite with the other furries, but she was persistent on following him because she doesn't have a place to go back to, and with his kind heart he takes her along. They stop to a campsite and Rio starts cooking.
You know what's cooking?
And the lolly called the pasta spaghetti. As they go to sleep, the furry is having a nightmare, and she dreams on wanting to go back to Tokyo. And Rio finally understands that she also got isekai'd here. The pair continues onto their journey, and they finally arrived at the World Tree. They made one last stop, and Rio sees this mysterious wolf stalking them, and the wolf uses a flashback. He gets blinded and was attacked by these furry bird women. He uses scan to determine their numbers and propose a deal with them to chat for a bit. The avians investigate the hut and they found out that Rio used some sleeping magic onto the lolly furry, and they've assumed that he kidnaps the furry and they attack him.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
They knock him out and he starts dreaming about the fairy lady again, and she tells him that they're connected or some shit and she will help him reach his full potential. He wakes up and the lolly furry rushes to him, and we see this old lady furry and the avians apologizing for their actions. They set him free and they offer this room to stay for the night. The next morning comes where the old lady furry takes him to the Big Daddy elders, and they apologize for their actions. They chat for a bit and this lady spirit shows up, and she notices his spirit energy and tells him that he has the potential to be the goat. If he can manage to make a bond with his spirit, and she also felt that it's a high rank spirit, and the elders tell him that he might be the second coming of Jesus.
Get ready to receive some Holy Spirit.
But for the meantime, the spirit lady tells him to stay in the village, where he gets his own house and he will live along with the furry lollies. And he says, isn't this illegal for me having minors in my house? Nah, don't worry about it. It's not like you're P. Diddy or something. Besides, having a furry lolly harem is what degenerates on Earth dream of. Then we see this montage of the pair spending their time in the village until the spirit festival. Then we see cdawgva getting into this cave and stealing this egg along with this soldier boy. As they return, a horde of dragons starts following them for stealing their egg.
Hello, please! I've just been robbed by 2 gang members!
We cut back to the ceremony where the pair finally received their citizenship after living here for a year. They enjoy themselves at the festival, and we see the old lady furry talking to Rio about telling the furry lolly that he'll be leaving the village. And he tells the lolly about his plan, but she won't hear any of it and wants to go along with him. On the other hand, cdawgva left this guy alone with the egg and used him as a bait for the dragon attack. And he lets him eat this pill for safety purposes. And he goes to the nest of the dragons to steal some more eggs. The Big Daddy elders notice the Wyvern's presence and they meet up about this crisis. They've set up a squad to investigate the area and they see Soulja Boy along with the egg. They tell him to come quietly but he runs away with the egg. Sayonara! Then the Wyvern follows him along with the avians. cdawgva finished stealing and used the crystal to kill Soulja Boy. Then Furry Lolly sees the egg and she was seen by the Wyvern, but Lolly Elf arrives just in time to save her. The pair work together to prevent the Wyvern from reaching the village. Lolly Furry was about to die but Ryu saves him just in time. Oh fuck me, she's literally getting the video game character syndrome where the character gets weak and pathetic as hell after unlocking them. At first she was a badass when they fought, now after befriending her she's now weak as hell. Nah fuck, doesn't matter. He single-handedly beat the Wyvern and this make the elf's pussy wet. The Wyverns retreat and they commend him for his actions. The next morning comes where the pair talks and they both confess that they got isekai'd here. Lolly Furry tells him that she won't join on his journey and she'll wait for him here. The Big Daddy elders gave him some items that will help him on his journey and he receives a Kirito gear with his black cloak and his diamond sword. Kirito says goodbye and leaps off into the distance. He arrives at the promised land where he asks these ninjas to take him to the village elder. He tells his story to the old woman that both of his parents come from here and their names are Zen and Ayame. After telling his past, the old woman tells him that he's her grandson because she's the mother of his father. She took him to their grave as he pays his respects. He asks her if she knows why they've left the village, but the old woman replied that it's not her position to tell what happened and only time will tell him. He stays in the village for quite a while and helps them doing their daily chores like moving a hay from one spot to another. The harvest season comes where the old woman told him to accompany their sellers on their journey towards the public market. We then see these douchebags bullying these pathetic weebs, but they let him go because they only want to stay for the day until their cart gets fixed. Night comes and Kirito gives the pair a protective crystal. We cut to the next day where the IRS shows up to calculate their village tax. They treat him well and as they go to sleep, the douchebag tries to rape Kirito's cousin. Right! He immediately noticed this because of the crystal and he beats the shit out of him like a sack of potatoes.
I have potato blood in my veins.
The IRS stopped him and arrested the douchebag for attempting a rape. He apologized for his actions and they continue on their day. They head to the market to sell their products. Then Ryu and this bitch goes on a date and he buys her some hairpin. We cut to IRS man where he gives a letter to his father coming from Ryu's grandma. And he has this ratatouille scene where he gets shocked after reading the letter. The pair arrives and the IRS meets up with Ryo privately and they tell him that her mother was the princess of this kingdom and his father was the strongest warrior. The king appointed his father to be the royal guard and his parents started shagging each other and he's the spawn of them. But the king sets up an arranged marriage which causes the couple to run away and that's the reason why he lived in poverty. They take him to the king to let them know that the heir of the kingdom is still alive. He tells his past about how he lived his life after his mother and father died, where he's planning to get revenge on a guy named Lucius who raped her mom, and the king doesn't want to stood in his path and he tells Arnold here to have a spar with Kirito.
Hasta la vista, baby.
In order to test his abilities if he's strong enough to go on a revenge mission. The duel starts where he shows that he's a Sigma male and he beats Arnold. They commend him for his skills and he tells the king that he wants to tell his cousin that he has a royal blood. They go back to the village where he prayed to his parents' grave on getting a successful revenge tour. He tells his cousin that he's a royalty and he also tells his grandma that he will leave the village this upcoming harvest season. Then we see a montage of him helping the villagers and he tells the bitch that he's leaving this upcoming harvest season and it makes her sad and her brother sees her and he begs Kirito to stay and fuck her sister. Damn! And the bitch apologized for causing a commotion. Then we see a montage training of the bitch Rocky style so that she can join in Kirito's journey. The day of the harvest comes where we see the bitch confessing her feelings to Kirito but she got rejected because he wants a big fat MILF pussy and the bitch breaks down and cries. We then see Kirito saying goodbye to his family early in the morning and as he leaves, the bitch also says goodbye and her fresh pussy will be waiting for his huge cock. He goes back to the world tree where he gets greeted by the furries. He tells the elders that he has a royal bud and requested them to make a portable shelter so that he can use it in his journey. Some boring stuff happens and he goes back to his treehouse to rest. The next morning comes where he wakes up and saw the spirit lady in his dream sleeping right beside him. What the fuck is that? The furry saw this and Ryu asked some basic questions on the spirit lady like what's her name, why did she take a body form now, and why does she know his earth name. Then the spirit replied that she doesn't have a name and both of them are connected since the beginning.
In the beginning.
She asked Kirito to give her a name and he calls her Aishia. He introduced her to the three spirit lady and the elders and they ask her what element is she good at and she replied that she knows how to control all elements. Three spirit lady asked Kirito to spar with her to test her abilities. The pair starts fighting and they were even evenly matched, and the three spirit ladies stop them before they destroy everything, and she says that she will take Aishia under her wing and train her to become the goat spirit. The goat! A montage starts where they help the village and the old man dwarf finished his portable house. Loli Furry and Kirito talk about their lives in Japan on how both of them were involved in the bus accident that day. The next day comes where Kirito and Aishia says goodbye and heads to the city with a disguise. Then we see low-budget Freyren receiving a letter from Kirito, but she hides it as she was being groomed by Charles Leclerc because they're now engaged. The pair arrives at the city where they visit low-budget Freyren's room at night, but he was shocked to see her room empty. The pair uses a manipulation magic to ask a question on this professor about the whereabouts of low-budget Freyren, and he tells him that she's getting married to Charles Leclerc from the royal house of Ferrari. He also tells the pair that the old royal family is getting a bad rep after losing the war, and the house of Ferrari is currently in charge of the kingdom.
Box now, box.
The pair leaves and plans in order for Aishia to tell low-budget Freyren that Kirito is coming to see her. We then see the couple eating dinner along with low-budget Freyren's father, and Charles Leclerc threatened the old man if he tries to stop this wedding. Meanwhile, Kirito and Aishia talks telepathically where Aishia found Freyren. He goes into her room and meets her as she was about to burn the letter. He then asks her straight to the point if she wants this marriage, but she lies about it and tells Kirito to not attend on the wedding because she doesn't want to see him getting cocked. The pair leaves and strategizes on how to stop the wedding tomorrow. The next day comes where Charles Leclerc invites cdawgva to his wedding because their families are BFF, and he sends a spirit nearby but it immediately left. We then see low-budget Freyren getting introduced to Charles Leclerc's harem, and the bitches tells her that she's in the bottom of the barrel because she's the 7th wife.
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
Damn, this motherfucker building his own harem, just like King Henry VIII. Princess Diana arrives and tells the bitches to get the fuck out, and she congratulates Freyren for getting married, and she apologizes for being forced to marrying Charles Leclerc, and she's now going to feel the Ferrari incompetence for the rest of her life. And she promised low-budget Freyren that she'll help and support her in this Ferrari strategy. The wedding ceremony begins where Rio lets Freyren know that he's getting cocked in the sides.
Stop it. Get some help.
As the couple reach the church, Kirito barges in to stop the wedding.
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
He used Freyren as a hostage and they talk telepathically, where Freyren tells him that she doesn't want to marry Charles Leclerc, and Kirito proceeds to kidnap her.
Bye, bitch!
As they run away, cdawgva fired this chaos ball towards the pair, and he learns that Kirito is the kidnapper. The pair heads to this alleyway and he gives Freyren to Aishia. He will act as a decoy in order for them to escape the city. As he runs away, this white knight starts fighting him, and he uses his big dick sword to annihilate him, and Kirito runs away after his attack hits the ground. They meet up in the rendezvous site, then the 7 gates of hell starts opening, and Aishia told him to save someone or something. We then see these high school cunts getting isekai'd in this world. They were kidnapped by some bandits, and Kirito massacred them all to save the kids, and he sees her childhood friend as he opens the carriage. And that's the end of the anime. This anime gets a Kirito out of a Charles Leclerc.
Leclerc! Leclerc!